Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, I need to make an announcement. I'm Gene Culpepper. I directed tonight's play. The circumstances of tonight's production are a little unusual. I was very flattered when Billy St. John, who wrote Murders in the Air. As you probably noticed on your program, Air is spelled H-E-I-R. Murders in the Air. Get it? Yes, well, as I was saying, I was flattered when Mr. St. John contacted me and asked me to direct his play's premiere production. Actually, it was a work in progress, and he made changes and rewrites throughout the rehearsal period. While it was very exciting to be a part of creating the new work, to tell you the truth, it put quite a strain on me, the playwright, and the cast.
You got that right.
Shush, Evan! Actors should be unseen and unheard until the curtain opens. Sorry about that. It's just the cast and crew and I are a little nervous about the play because, well, it's not quite finished. Oh, don't worry, we're gonna go on. The show must go on, as someone once said. I don't know who said that, but I'd love to get my hands around his neck. As I was saying, the play's not quite finished. You see, it's a murder mystery, and most of the characters have great motives to kill. Well, you'll see who. It's just Mr. St. John couldn't make up his mind on who he wanted the murderer to be. In fact, he wrote several different endings in which various suspects were revealed as the murderer. We performed them all for him, and he still couldn't decide. As he grew closer and closer to opening night, the tension in the air, that's A-I-R, grew so thick you could cut it with a knife. It got so bad that Mr. St. John had what I feel sure will prove to be only a temporary breakdown. The reason he's not with us tonight is because he's currently under heavy sedation in a room with soft walls and lots of padding. Some people have all the luck. The cast and crew and I are here, though, and we are determined to provide an entertaining show for you. Even if it kills us. That's a figure of speech, of course. This brings me to my main point of my being up here. To tell you that you're going to have to help us. If you look in your program, you'll see we've inserted a loose slip of paper. A ballad of sorts. As you watch the first act, you'll discover which characters have the motives to murder someone. A person who will, indeed, be dead by the time the act ends. We need you to check on your ballot which character you think is the murderer. During intermission, we'll tally them quickly, and for the second act, we'll perform the scene that Mr. St. John wrote that had the character the majority of you chose as the murderer. Or at least, that's what we hope will happen. It got very confusing during rehearsals.
Wonder we didn't kill the playwright.
Quiet! Look, we might as well get started. I saved a seat here in the front so I can follow along in the script in case things get a little shaky, which they won't, but just in case. Are you ready, cast?
As ready as we're gonna be.
Then let's do it. Places!
I served as Mr. Starkweather's housekeeper
before you came here, Miss Withers. I don't need you to tell me how to do my job. You've brought the coffee?
Yes, it's here on the table, Miss Trent.
Then go back to the kitchen and help Minerva with the rest of the refreshments.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Starkville gave specific instructions that he wished to have everyone present in the drawing room at 8 o'clock sharp, else Spencer's to fetch the guests from their rooms.
Mr. Starkweather will be ready. Come in, Mr. Starkweather.
Oh, well, I done got all the cars parked in the garage, just like you told me.
I told you. Oh, why was my girl? There's dripping water all over the foyer. And also, why did you enter through the front door? How many times do I have to tell you that servants never enter through the front door?
Well, I reckon I forgot, Miss Spencer. Besides, it's raining out there.
I see that. And now Elizabeth has been raining inside of here as well. Thanks to you.
Well, you're welcome.
Go back out, but when you can maneuver yourself around to the back door.
Well, I'm not sure if I'll be able to manage that, but I guess I'm gonna find out.
Don't be impertinent.
How can I? If I don't know what it means.
When the last guest, young Master Simon, arrives, I'll summon you so you can go park his car for him.
Oh, good. Well, while I'm waiting, I'm gonna sit by the fire, see if I can grow some gills.
Go off into the kitchen and wait there until I summon you. Not that way. Have you forgotten already? I told you to go around to the back door.
Nope. But I was hoping you had. Oh, come on.
That man's an idiot.
I heard that.
Where do you want me to put this one, Minerva?
On the coffee table. Careful with it. Nancy.
The coffee.
I think everything is ready.
You think wrong. Place the cups on the saucer so all you'll have to do is pour the coffee.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Van Sant has informed me that Mr. Starkweather wishes for everyone to be present, even the staff.
He wants the servants here?
Precisely. Even Rufus. Had I been informed of the matter sooner, I would have ordered him to go take a bath. Now, he has been outside parking cars in the rain, so perhaps I will help him.
If you ask me, Noah's flood wouldn't help.
Be that as it may, I shall summon him and Mrs. Trent.
Why does Mr. Starkweather want the servants to be here?
I'll pull out my crystal ball and let you know. Nancy, do you remember what I first told you when you came to work here?
Yes, ma'am. Do as you're told and don't ask questions.
Exactly. Stick to that.
Yes, ma'am.
I suppose so, when you consider most of the time he treats us like lepers.
You think Uncle Simon treats us like jungle cats?
Not lepers, Mother. Lepers. Oh, you know what, just forget it. And Mother, you're fine.
What think you, son?
I'll say though, if we should ever inherit this mausoleum, the first thing we'll do is call up the Adams family, left notes on the market.
Counting chickens, are we?
Sure. We didn't see you and your attractive young company.
Nancy's a nice girl, and I mean for her to stay that way.
Oh, I don't know what you mean.
I doubt that.
I don't understand.
I believe that, Miss Fiona. Why don't you have a seat and we'll bring you some coffee?
Coffee? That sounds nice. It's a little damp in here.
It's because it's a lot damp out there. How do you take your coffee?
Mother's prefers hers black. I like mine sweet. Actually, forget it. I'll flavor it myself.
Whatever.
Oh, what lovely hors d'oeuvres. These are delicious.
Glad you like them.
You're looking very pretty tonight, Nancy.
Thank you, sir.
Sir? That makes me feel as old as great Uncle Simon. Just call me Shorty.
She'll call you Mr. Starkweather, like a proper maid should. If anyone calls you by another name, it'll be me, and you do not want to know the one I'm thinking.
Oh, Minerva, you never change.
Neither do you. More's the pity. Now go take a seat next to your mother.
Yes, drill sergeant.
My goodness, Kathy. I don't see how y'all can stand living out here in the boonies, away from fine restaurants, shopping centers, and movie theaters. Why, I'd get so depressed I'd just sit down and wait.
It's not that bad, Paula. I stay here during the week and go to my apartment in town most weekends.
Oh, I'm so relieved to hear that.
I worked for a large corporation before Mr. Starkweather hired me to be his personal secretary, and believe me, this position is much nicer.
Look what we have here. Two rays of sunshine to dispel the gloom. You're looking beautiful, ladies.
My goodness, Cousin Jordan. You're a rogue and a charmer.
I do my best. What you are, Jonas?
Have a seat over there. You'll be safe. We'll bring you some coffee.
Thank you, Minerva. I tip mine black.
And love my dad with lots of sugar. I do have to admit, I have an enormous sweet tooth. Maybe that's when she gets that Nashville accent.
And how are you this evening, Cousin Fiona? I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, that's just peachy. I swear, I don't know why we don't see more of one another. It's like the only time we get together is for somebody's funeral.
Well, aren't all funerals meant for somebody? Huh?
Shame on you. Don't be morbid, Cousin Jordan. I'm glad this week is an exception for the rule. For once, no one's dead.
So far, anyway.
That's okay, honey. It's nothing.
What did you mean by that remark, Jordan?
Nothing. It's just that when he wanted to tell us that great Uncle Simon wanted me and his mother to come over to Starkweather Mansion for the weekend. I assume you were going to say that he had passed on.
Do you wish?
I started to pack my new black dress.
It's a natural assumption. He is getting up in years and he's a bad health. I was relieved to find out the old boy is still with us, of course.
Uh-huh. Kathy, darling, I bet you know why great Uncle Simon desired our presence this frightful evening. Come on, tell.
Miss Van Zandt will go into particulars, but I believe Mr. Starkweather wishes to discuss his will.
Really?
I'd appreciate it if you didn't rule on the order.
You misjudged me, Minerva. I was surprised. That's all.
Where's Cousin Simon? Should he be here too?
When I contacted him last week, he said he could make it. Apparently he's going to be late. If he tried to call here tonight, he couldn't get through. The phone lines are down.
Well, if we're going to talk about the will, he should be here. After all, he is great Uncle Simon's only grandchild.
Yeah, probably did everything.
Excuse me. I hate to interrupt. You guys are doing great. You really are. I suggested to Mr. St. John that these family relationships might be a bit confusing. He agreed and was going to write a scene that explained everything. He was working on it when he snapped like a rubber band. So I'll just tell you. I think the family tree might be in your program as well. Here's how it works. Simon Starkweather, the old billionaire whom you'll meet shortly, married late in life and produced one heir, Simon Jr. Simon Jr., in turn, married and produced Simon III, the college student who's late for the gathering. The original Mrs. Starkweather, Simon Jr., and his wife are now deceased. Simon's older brother, Paul, married and produced Bella, who in turn married Luciane Thompson, an Atlanta businessman, and they had Paula here. Paul, his wife, Bella and Luciane are now deceased. Simon's younger brother, John, married and produced Ezra, and then Ezra married Fiona here. And they had Jordan. This is Jordan, but you know that already. John, his wife, and Ezra are now deceased. Now, I realize that's a lot of dead people, but If they had been included in the play too, it would have looked like a marching band had walked on the stage. Believe me, it was hard enough moving everyone on stage as it was. At any rate, Simon is Fiona's uncle by marriage, and Paula and Jordan's great uncle. That makes Paula, Jordan, and young Simon cousins. Or second cousins. Or third cousins, I think? I don't really know how that works. I hope that clears things up for you. Sorry for the interruption. Carry on.
We don't have the foggiest notion of where we are.
I'm not even sure who I am.
Yes, sorry. Start with Alex and Olivia's entrance.
Heel,
Huh?
give them their entrance cue.
What is it?
They'll probably get everything.
Oh, well.
Your cousin Simon.
Oh, yeah. Got you. Yeah, probably get everything.
I'm very pleased with your investigation, Mr. Davis. I'll be happy to refer you to my other clients.
Just doing my job, Ms. Van Zandt.
Good evening, everyone.
I know we haven't met yet, but I've got a pretty good idea who you all are. Mrs. Starkweather and her son Jordan, right?
That's right, Mr.
Davis. Call me Mike.
And from what Miss Van Zandt just said, you must be some sort of an investigator?
You got about the private guy.
I see.
Who is this nice young lady, dear?
She's a detective, Mother.
A detective? How exciting! Do you know Jessica Fletcher?
No, ma'am. She's way out of my league. I do know who you two ladies must be, though.
Well, if you're a private investigator, I'd be surprised if you didn't.
That accent settles it. You're Paula Thompson.
And you're 100% correct. I can't deny I'm from the deep south.
If you came from any deeper south, you live in Central America.
That leaves you to be Kathy Collins. Nice to finally meet you in person.
Me too, Mike. Mike and I corresponded for some time by mail and fax on Mr. Starkweather's behalf.
Is the seat taken? No?
And I expect you to remain unobtrusive.
Oh, I sure will, Miss Benshurst. As soon as I find dictionaries, we'll get up.
Just sit over there by the fire and keep quiet.
Oh, come on, fire? Glad to. My back says still kind of something. Oh, yeah. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Keep an eye on him.
I shall do my best.
If all is in readiness, Miss Van Zandt, I shall now go inform Mr. Starkweather.
Yes. Thank you, Benson Rose.
There's coffee if anybody else wants some.
I could use some, Marva.
And how do you take it?
Oh, in a cup! Because you would pour the coffee in the cup and drink, and then you drink the coffee out of the cup.
Miss Van Zandt, if I understand correctly, Great Uncle Simon has asked us here to talk about his will.
Yes. Frankly, I didn't think it was such a good idea. Mr. Starkweather's health is precarious at best, and he doesn't need the extra excitement. I advised him to communicate with you all by mail, but he insisted on summoning you here at Starkweather Mansion. I only hope he doesn't live to regret that decision.
Miss Withers is bringing Mr. Starkweather now to come join us.
Strand, can I move now?
To think I was once surrounded by presidents and kings. Could my world have shrunk to this? A meager staff of hired help and a handful of relatives. Simon, where's my grandson?
We presume he's on his way, Mr. Starkweather.
I can't wait for him. Not enough time anymore.
Good evening, great Uncle Simon. You look at him. Well,
Are you blind, boy, or just a habitual liar?
I was only making pleasantries, Uncle.
Save your breath. You're a smooth talker, Jordan, but that doesn't cut any ice with me. You're nothing but a greedy opportunist, boy. I ought to know. I was one myself at your age.
Then I guess it runs in the family.
You have a point. Well, Fiona, you look the same.
I do? Why, thank
It's
you,
not a compliment.
Great Uncle Simon, you're just awful.
At my age, and with my money, I can afford to say exactly what I think, and I do. Now, how's my little Georgia beach?
Oh, well, maybe you're just thinking, Uncle.
I couldn't afford it. Mr. Starkweather, would you care for some coffee? Oh, he mustn't have any. The caffeine would keep him awake, and it could affect his blood pressure. Sometimes his medications cause it to run a little high.
Apparently I won't be having any Minerva. You heard my keeper.
Yes, sir.
Everyone aspires to live to a ripe old age. And for what? To be kept alive by medicines and machines? To be denied such of life's simple pleasures? Like a cup of coffee?
You mustn't excite yourself, Mr. Starkweather.
You see, I'm not even allowed to feel any strong emotions.
Well, that's a bummer.
Bummer. You put it very succinctly, Rufus. I could have searched my vocabulary extensively and not found a more suitable word. Bummer.
Well, I'm glad you like it, Mr. Starkweather.
According to my doctors, I won't have to remain in this weak-old body much longer. There's just one thing I hate to leave behind. My money.
You know what they say, Uncle? You can't take it with you.
Yes, it is what they say. So I propose to you draft up my will if you use it, come for my signature. I suppose you'd like to know how I've provided for all of you, my heirs.
I, for one, I'm just a teensy bit curious.
A teensy bit, eh?
I was afraid something had to happen. Here, Mr. Starkweather. Breathe deeply. See what you've done?
Me? I didn't.
Should somebody call an ambulance?
We can't, the phones are dead.
It's all right. He lost his breath. He just needs to breathe pure oxygen for a few moments.
This is the will Mr. Starkweather was referring to. As you all know, he's been a phenomenally successful businessman for many years.
Oh, I should say, he's been on the cover of Forbes magazine this like a dozen times.
Oh, wait, I never read it.
He has the distinction of becoming one of the world's first billionaires.
Some 20 years ago, I begged your Ezra to ask his Uncle Simon to advise him on his business investments, but he was too proud.
Yeah, that is pride. Lots of pride. And very little money.
If I may continue, Mr. Starkweather's fortune is now worth in the neighborhood of $50 billion.
What?
Well, if I'd known that, I'd have asked for a raise.
I won't go into the details of the will, but it essentially completes $1 million each to his household staff. They are Mr. Bensonhurst, his butler, Miss Trent, his housekeeper, Minerva Walker, his cook, Miss Withers, his nurse, Nancy Pollard, his maid, and Rufus Jones, his handyman.
Get the raise!
Mr. Starkweather, I had no idea. The will goes on to state that the rest of the money is to be divided equally among his surviving relatives. They are his grandson, Simon III, his niece, Fiona Starkweather, and her son, Jordan, who will share 1/3, and Miss Paula Thompson.
Isn't that nice?
I always knew you could rap for that song, though.
I know you got ham when Mama married a Southern boy, great Uncle Simon. But you two must have agreed on one thing. Blood is thicker than water.
Now that I've informed you of the contents of the will, I have another announcement to make. As of tomorrow, this will becomes invalid.
Wait, hold on now. What does invalid mean?
It means no good.
Oh, well then I got a brother that's invalid.
Miss Van Zandt means we're not gonna get the money in full.
Oh, guess I won't be buying that big TV screen I was thinking about getting after all.
Oh, sit. You too, Lois.
Oh, well, how did you decide to disinherit or something?
I found a better use for my money, that's why. Oh, I didn't cut you out entirely. Each recipient in the old will get $50,000 each.
50,000? Out of 50 billion?
Yes. Lois advised me it'd be wise to not cut you out entirely, so you'll be less likely to be able to contest my new will.
New will?
Yes. That's why I had Kathy stay over at Starkweather Mansion this weekend to type it up nice and proper for Lois's signature. Mr. Davis, as a disinterested party, can witness the signing. Lois will file it at the courthouse come Monday.
Mr. Davis said he's a detective. What did you hire him to do?
Mr. Starkweather hired me to conduct an investigation on the client. Over the last 6 months, I flew to a dozen or more countries in search of the world's most brilliant scientists. Some well known, others who prefer to keep their experiments hush-hush. I succeeded and found one in Belgium, who let's call Dr. X, who agreed to do what Mr. Starkweather desires, which is to clone himself.
What?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Oh, good. Glad I'm not the only one.
Those blood and skin samples you had me prepare. The ones you said will be examined by specialists.
They were sent to specialists with theirs, specialists in DNA.
I thought you were trying to find a cure.
It was. Not a cure for my various ailments, but a cure for dying. And I did find it.
Cloning?
Yes. Through modern science, I will live forever.
It's not right.
That's neither here nor there. But the moralists and the politicians debate that for years to come. Dr. X, as Davis Lincoln, will be busy creating a new me. Sit down with us. A lot of you, I assume, are upset, not because of the moral question, but because of your change. Fortune. Too bad. Cloning is a very expensive process, especially when it must be done in absolute secrecy. Regardless, I will still have a sizable fortune left for the new me to inherit once the process is completed. No doubt, I will be the first person on Earth to become my own heir. With its blood pressure.
Yes, Mr. Starkweather. If you'll excuse us, I need to take Mr. Starkweather's blood pressure.
Why can't you just leave it right here?
Mr. Starkweather's arms are too frail for me to get a reading from them. This is an outside cup made to go around the patient's side. He can stand the pressure from the inflated cup better there. Mr. Starkweather has had enough excitement for an evening. I shall put him to bed.
guess our meeting has concluded, unless anyone else has any other questions.
Yeah, actually I do. What the heck was that all about?
It's simple, Rufus. Critical someone is going to leave us all a fortune, but changed his mind and decided he's gonna clone himself.
What does clone mean? It means to take some cells from a person's body and create a duplicate of the original.
Well, they can do that? Well, that's great! Maybe when old Mr. Starkweather passed away, I can get a job working for the new Mr. Starkweather.
The new Mr. Starkweather will have to be born and grow up. It goes against all the laws of nature.
How? It's all been arranged. Once Dr. X has created the new life, he will implant it into a host mother who will carry the child to term.
Host mother? Who?
Me.
Oh,
As always, the secretary.
Why not? I'm young and healthy. I'll make a good mother for little Simon.
How could you consider being a part of this travesty?
I'll be well compensated. Besides, have you ever known anyone else to give birth to a baby billionaire?
Uncle Simon is giving his money to a baby?
In a manner of speaking, yes. The money will be placed into a trust fund, which I'll administer. I'll release the money to pay Dr. X and his staff to perform the cloning procedure. After that, ample funds will be provided to provide for Kathy and little Simon's care and upbringing.
The kid will look, think, and act just like Simon Starkweather. He could conceivably parlay those billions into millions by the time he's an old man.
But for what purpose? To leave it to another clone? Then another? Then another? Where will it end? When there's a Simon Starkweather with enough money and power to rule the world?
We didn't discuss it yet, but you might well be right.
I can't believe you condone such madness.
Oh, I see why she would. Miss Van Zandt and that Collins girl will live like billionaires themselves off Mr. Starkweather's money. Money that should have gone to us. And his family? I guess you'll get rich too since you're a part of this scheme.
Me? No. I do the job I was paid for. I'll take my very generous check and go. Quite frankly, I don't care if the boss's science fiction experiment works or not.
You should be ashamed. You should all be ashamed.
I believe you made your feelings quite clear, ladies. If you and the other servants will join me in the kitchen, I wish to speak to all of you. Now.
But
Well, you'll sit back being rather host, even over.
shut up, Rufus.
Okay.
We'll clear out after you guys are finished. I trust you'll bring if you need anything else.
Kathy and I will retire to my room. We might as well be typing up that new will. I'll direct you how to write everything in proper legal terms.
Sure, Lois. Once it's sooner and Simon can finish, the better.
Oh boy, how come nobody asked me if I wanted to be the host mother? I can do it just as well as she can.
You're Mr. Starkweather's bloodkin, Paula. It would be improper.
Yes, it would be kind of tacky.
Proper? You're about to conduct an experiment that makes Frankenstein look like an amateur, and you're worried about being proper?
Cool it, kid, before you burst a blood vessel. Mr. Starkweather's made up his mind, and I get a feeling whatever the old man wants, he gets.
It's a secret code, Mr. Davis. Kathy?
Well, I'll pack my things. Once I witness the signing of the new will in the morning, I won't have reason to stay around. Night.
We were robbed!
We were?
Yes, Mother. Critical son was going to leave us all a fortune, but changed his mind.
That was kind of mean.
Mean? The man's a monster. Did you see the evil glint in his eye? He enjoyed pulling the rug from right under our feet.
At least he's giving us $50,000.
To him, that's no more than tossing a dime to a beggar. And it's all to keep us from breaking his new will. You heard him.
Yeah.
I wish you were dead. I wish you'll go drop dead tonight.
It would serve him right. If Uncle Simon did die tonight, then we'd all get our money. But
Yeah, that's all I can afford to pay. Yeah.
Mr. Starkweather,
It's Jordan, remember? At least went to Minerva, the dragon lady isn't around.
I thought everyone had gone to bed.
I was gonna turn in for an urge for a midnight snack.
I can fix you something.
Never mind, what are you doing?
Mrs. Trent sent me here to make sure the fire screen was closed so no sparks popped out onto the rug.
And burn Starkweather Mansion to the ground. Maybe that wouldn't be such a bad idea.
You shouldn't talk like that. You know Mr. Starkweather is an invalid. How could you?
You read my mind.
Jordan!
God, you call me by my first name.
You mustn't even suggest such a thing like that. It's wicked.
Why should that surprise you? Everybody knows I'm the black sheep in the family. If it happened tonight, you'd have $1 million. And I had billions. Think of all the good times we had together.
Oh, don't!
It's a tempting thought, admit it.
It's not. It's a horrible idea.
Which part? Getting the money? Or you and me together?
What about the money?
Well, what about us?
I should have...
Nancy! I thought you were going to help me with the dishes.
I was nervous, but I was just making sure the French doors were locked.
Okay, and what are you doing here?
Came down for a little snack with my son Nancy and stopped for a chat.
That appetite of yours is going to get you in trouble one of these days.
Minerva, what are you doing with that, knife?
Mincing onions?
At midnight?
Well, I hate for anyone to see me cry. I thought I heard someone in here and I came to check. If you're hungry, come with me and I'll fix you something.
Yes, Minerva. Anything you say, Minerva.
Finish in here and come help me in the kitchen.
Miss Minerva.
Come on!
Rufus? Oh, just me, Mr. Bensonhurst. I thought I heard somebody come in. Yeah, well, again, just me.
see. And what are you doing with that axe?
Well, see, it's like this. I'm chopping wood. Fire outside. 4-star rating, of course. But, I forgot to put the axe back in the shed. I've been, dismembering things a lot lately. When it come to me, when I left it, I thought I should bring her inside and dry her up so she don't rust.
I understand that, but why bring it inside the living room? And also, did any of you come to the front door? Because if so, how many times do I have to tell you to never enter through the front door?
As many as you want, Miss Masters, I am not counting.
Oh, Rufus, I swear you'll be the death of me yet. Go off into the kitchen and have Mr. Trink give you a towel.
What for? I ain't wet, it quit raining.
Oh, I know that, to dry the axe. You know, the back door, if that man had a brain, he'd be so dangerous.
I heard that.
A penny for your thoughts.
Jordan, what are you doing up this late? I just came down for a breath of fresh air.
What do you want cookie?
No thanks.
So, did you, Miss Van Zandt, finish the new will?
Yes, it's all right except for Mr. Starkweather's signature. I see you've calmed down. I wouldn't blame you if you hated me.
Why should I hate you? I'll make the same deal if I was your shoes.
I'm sure you would, Jordan.
Minerva was right, though. Being the mother of little Simon would be the next best thing to owning the billions yourself. Aren't you convinced something, though?
What?
The little type will be dad, too. Someone to guide him and mold him into perfect replica of Baron Simon. A heartless money-making machine.
You think so?
I listen. And we'd be better quality for you than I. You're very aggressive woman, Callie. We can make splendid business.
Teacher, come hands off me!
What?
You're getting cookie crumbs on my blouse. And by the way, forget it. If I decide those Simon needs a father after he's born, I'll pick a suitable husband then. I don't know who he'll be. He'll be a sleazy, money-hungry slimeball like you, Jordan.
I can kill you if you wish!
I wouldn't try if I were you. Not the detective in the house.
Aren't you finished in here yet? I need to make everything all right. Well, hurry up, girl. Whatever wants you in the kitchen. This man, don't trouble. Close. Miss Thompson? Miss Trent! Miss Trent, you gave me a fright. I suppose I should be grateful you didn't shoot me. What on earth are you doing? Roaming the house in the middle of the night with a gun in your hand?
Oh, don't worry, I know how to handle a gun. I couldn't sleep, so I thought I'd clean it. I was just going to the kitchen to look for some oil.
Well, I doubt if you'll find what you need in there unless you want to rub it with Crisco. Do you often carry that thing around with you?
Oh, I take it everywhere I go. Daddy taught me to be a crack shot when I was 10. A girl can't be too careful.
Yes, well, I don't think you have anything to worry about at Starkweather Mansion. It's miles from the nearest town. No one else comes out this way.
You never had a burglary or a prowler.
No.
Well, I mean, you know, since great Uncle Simon is so weak and all. It's a wonder somebody hasn't tried to steal something. I mean, in his condition and how could he defend himself?
You could stick your slithers on them, I suppose. That should frighten off any intruders.
Oh, you're just awful. But you know what? I wouldn't want to tangle with that woman. Where does she sleep?
In the room beyond Mr. Strickler's, so she can hear if he makes a spell for her in the night.
So let's see, if I remember correctly, when Mom brought me here when I was just a little girl, that room over there used to be a parlor. And the one beyond that was the library?
That's correct. When Mr. Strickler became too low to go up and down the stairs, the library was converted into a bedroom and Withers took the parlor.
So they're the only ones who sleep downstairs.
Yes, the servants' quarters are in the attic, under the eaves. We are on our own staircase from the kitchen. Why do you ask?
I'm just curious.
Oh, excuse me, folks. I thought that little section of dialogue was kind of awkward and suggested to Mr. St. John that he cut it. But he felt it was needed to get an idea of the layout of the house. He said, "What do you want me to do? Put a blueprint of the Starkweather Mansion in the program?" Which I thought was kind of rude. Why would I do that? He insisted I leave the dialogue in, so I did. But it's a bad piece of writing. Just want you to know that I tried to correct it. Sorry.
I want you to know that if you do that one more time, you're gonna have to bring that script up onto this stage and play Miss Frank yourself.
Sorry. Sorry.
That was great, but where are we?
So you're curious about the layout of the house, are you?
Oh, yes. I was just curious.
Well, you know what they say. Curiosity kills the cat.
Well, if you'll excuse me.
Wouldn't it be ironic if someone did break in tonight of all nights and...
Mr. Starkweather?
Oh, you nearly frightened me to death.
My apologies, madam. Might I ask what you just strewn about the room?
Did you tell us? For my heart. I have a heart condition. Maybe I should take two.
Digitalis. Doesn't this feel one's heart rate?
Oh yes, my little heart is just pumping away.
I suppose a single dose would be sufficient then.
Oh, yes. An overdose could be extremely fatal. Or it may be redundant. I suppose fatal is fatal, just like dead is dead. Don't you agree?
Precisely. One cannot be deader than another. Dead longer, perhaps, but that is only what comes to mind in the situation at hand. Might I inquire why you bring your medication into the living room?
Why? That's a very good question. Why did I bring them down here? Oh, I remember. I was going to show them to Miss Withers and see if she might be able to give me some free samples. Oh, with her medical connections, you know.
Oh. Although it seems though your bottle was already full.
Yes, it was, but it never hurts to plan ahead. Oh, I had better pick them up.
Allow me to assist you.
Bensonhurst, you something.
Be my guest.
Why are you carrying a wrench?
A wrench? A wrench? Yeah. Miss Withers thought that the valve in Mr. Starkweather's room was a bit loose. Thought I could give that a turn or two.
Oh, how mechanical of you. We wouldn't want any of that gas to escape into his room now, would we?
Naturally not. But, first things first.
I feel like a pigeon pecking popcorn.
You missed one there.
Where?
By your left kneecap. Your left kneecap.
Oh, got it. These have just rolled everywhere.
Round objects tend to do that, madam.
Mrs. Starkweather, what are you doing on the floor with Bensonhurst?
Oh, picking up my spilled pills. I dropped my digitalis. Please watch where you put your feet, my dear. Both of them.
I suppose Mr. Starkweather required an injection? Is he doing all right?
Nothing I can't handle. His lungs seem to be somewhat congested, so I took him from his bed and sat him in his wheelchair. He can breathe easier in an upright position. Then I gave him an injection of steroids to help open his bronchial passages.
My, where would Uncle Simon be without you?
Dead. Without my help, his heart would have stopped beating long ago.
Oh, Mrs. Starkweather, wasn't there something you want to ask Miss Withers?
Was there?
The digitalis?
Oh, yes. Miss Withers, I was wondering if you guys have any manufacturer samples of the digitalis you don't need? I have a heart condition and I'd like to keep a supply handy.
I can see why you would. Yours tend to run out, don't they? I am sorry, Mrs. Starkweather, but I'm fresh out of spare drugs. Your uncle requires every pill he's got to keep him going.
Oh, my. Well, then we'd better gather up all of mine. Will you help us, my dear?
I suppose.
Is this private game or can anyone play?
Oh, Mr. Davis, we're picking up spilled pills.
Oh, is that it? Thought you were holding a tiny little remarkable tournament. I'll pass.
Let me give you these. I really must attend to my duties.
And here are all of mine.
Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
If you'll excuse me.
Miss Withers, how's the boss?
Bossy, he sent me for a pitcher of fresh drinking water. If I'm not back in a minute, he'll start ringing his handbell for me.
I gather he does that a lot.
Incessantly. See what I mean? I'll be right there, Mr. Starkweather. When he stops ringing the bell, I'll know he's kicked the bucket. Excuse me.
Spoken like a true member of the medical community. Bensonhurst, what's with the wrench? Is there something I can give you a hand with?
You know, thank you, Mr. Davis. But no, I too shall now excuse myself.
Well?
You're up kind of late, Mrs. Starkweather?
Oh, I couldn't sleep. What about you, Mr. Davis?
Oh, I'm a real night owl. Besides, I was hoping young Simon Starkweather would show up. I haven't had the chance to meet him yet.
Oh, Simon's a sweet boy. I do hope he's all right. I mean, the storm and all.
Well, we pulled off the side of the road to let it pass. Starting to flood over again. Might be in for another deluge.
Dear, I hope not. I believe I'll go back to my room and lie down.
Night again, Mrs. Starkweather.
Good night.
I'm coming, Mr. Starkweather. Oh, you're still here.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on things.
I see. Well, my patients
Yeah, I'm not the only one. There's more traffic passing through Starkweather Mansion at midnight than down the interstate at rush hour.
I know what you mean. I've been hearing footsteps run past my bedroom door all night.
Between us, Miss Van Zandt, this cloning business, how do you feel about it?
I'm a lawyer, Mr. Davis. I'm paid to think, not feel. Can Mr. Starkweather be cloned? Definitely. There's no question the technology exists. Should he be cloned? Let's just say I would want to be the first to challenge nature with another Lois Van Zandt.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm a simple guy. I've got enough to worry about in one lifetime. The sooner we get the signing over and I can get back to the real world, the better.
Finish. Mr. Starkweather can sign it first thing in the morning.
Oh, the old boy's still awake. The nurse was in here a minute ago. He was ringing his bell for her.
Well, in that case, there's no reason he can't sign it now.
That's what I was thinking. The people in this house are as tense as a bunch of long-tailed cats in a room full of rocking chairs. I know I'd feel a lot better once the boss's plan is a done deal.
I'll go up to my room and get the will. Why don't you let Mr. Starkweather know? Oh. What in the world?
Circuit breaker must have tripped.
But the storm passed hours ago.
I know. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I'll find Bensonhurst. We have to show me where the main breaker is.
Good. I'll let Mr. Starkweather know we're working.
Jules and Sheree.
Coming, Mr. Starkweather. Mr. Starkweather?
Hello? Is anybody in here? Mrs. Trent? Bensonhurst? Anybody?
Kathy? Is that you? Mr. Starkweather's not responding. I can't find that nurse anywhere.
Oh no. He hasn't signed the will yet, has he?
No, but perhaps he just fainted. We need light. Mr. Davis is trying to... Mr. Starkweather!
What happened? Someone struck me.
It's Mr. Starkweather! Help him!
Let's go. I think I heard a scream.
He's dead!
Oh, God!
Someone took the blood pressure cuff and inflated it to the maximum. 300 millimeters of mercury. Mr. Starkweather has been strangled to death.
Mr. Starkweather, who would do such a thing?
You kidding me? I'd say you and nearly everyone else in this room are up in the top 10. Hold it down! Let me check the body.
Those drops on his robe. Is it blood?
I don't know.
What else could it be?
I'll handle it. I'm the detective, remember? Miss Withers, what can you tell us?
After I brought him his pitcher of water, I made sure he was breathing all right, then went to my room and laid down across my bed. Moments later, the lights went out.
Oh, I noticed that too.
When I heard Mr. Starkweather ringing his bell, I was lighting a candle when someone struck me in the head with a heavy object. I must have blacked out. When I came to, the lights were on. And
Yeah, we can take it from there.
You seem to be in charge, Mr. Davis. What do we do now?
We sit tight. We keep trying the phone till we get through to the cops. If we can't get through until morning, someone will have to drive into town and report that there's been a murder at Starkweather Mansion.
Whoa. Well, maybe the old man did himself in. Huh? Because
Shut.
or maybe not. I don't know. Okay. Young Mr. Simon, come on in. You made it. And oh boy, do we have a surprise for you.
Wasn't that just the most diabolical murder you've ever saw? Don't you just love it? The way Mr. St. John's mind works, it's no wonder he went bonkers. Now remember, first thing during intermission, we need you to check on your ballot which character you think murdered Simon Starkweather. The ushers will circulate outside and take them up in here as well in case you didn't need to go. For a drink of water or anything. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Over with the cast what to do when they learn who will be the murderer at tonight's performance. There are some things Mr. St. John intended to put in the second act once he figured out who the murderer would be. Lines or actions that are clues to a person's identity. I just wanted to let you know so you can continue to play armchair detective and try to guess the culprit's identity. Well, I guess that's it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conclusion to Murders in the Air.
Starkweather.
That's ridiculous. Why would I kill him?
I'd say a $30 to $50 billion fortune is good enough reason to knock somebody off. Mr. Starkweather signed that new will.
But I didn't know about the new will. I wasn't here when Grandfather revealed that crazy cloning scheme you told me about.
It would have been easy enough to hide behind the French doors and eavesdrop on the conversation.
Why would I hide? I was expected here. I told you what happened.
Tell me again.
All right. I had to creep at a snail's pace on that long country road. Rain was lashing against the windshield so hard I could barely see. The wind was snapping branches off the tree and pulling them towards the car. It was like driving through a hurricane. When I had gotten to the bridge that spans the stream which flows across the state, I had to stop. The stream had turned into a raging river and had torn the bridge to pieces. I remember a place about a mile from there where the bridge had fallen years ago. I used to play on it when I was a kid. I found a tree and managed to walk across it, though the rising water nearly covered the trunk. Apparently, I got here just after Grandfather was murdered.
It's a good story. It sounds rehearsed.
Not nearly enough. It's the truth, I swear it.
Maybe. But I'm still not crossing you off my suspect list.
Just what else do you have on that list, Mr. Davis?
Everyone in this house except Miss Van Zandt and Miss Kathy Collins. They had a whole heck of a lot to gain if your grandfather had only lived a few more minutes. As it turns out, they're left in the cold.
Especially me. Lois has other clients. Now I'm among the unemployed.
Oh, I'm sure once his estate is settled, we can arrange for you to be given a very generous severance check.
Take it out of your portion if you like. Mother and I will pass.
So will I. Nothing personal, of course. Of course.
Mr. Davis, what do we do now?
Oh,
show me the way to your car and drive me into town. I'll tell what I know to the police and we'll notify them that the bridge is out. Chances are they'll fly in by helicopter. They'll have to take the body to the coroner's office, investigate the crime scene, and take your statements. But once a homicide detective is assigned to the case, I'm out of here.
But you're a detective too, and you were right here when the murder occurred. You have a better chance of solving it than anyone else.
Sorry, but now that Mr. Starkweather is dead, I'm off the payroll. Once a homicide detective is here, I'm out of here.
Well, I'll hire you to stay. I won't have the money to pay you until I get my portion of the inheritance, but if you're willing to wait...
You're on, kid. I figure you're good for the dough. Incidentally, that offer dropped you down to the bottom of my suspect list.
How can we help, Mr. Davis?
First, I'll need to know everyone's whereabouts when Mr. Starkweather was murdered.
Establish everyone's alibis.
Yeah. Also, I'll need to know anything you or the staff might have seen or heard in the last few hours that might lead us to discover the killer's identity.
Clues.
You got it. Motives, alibis, and clues. That's what a detective has to work with. The motives in this case are obvious. The other elements aren't so yet. But hopefully they will be by the time I'm finished.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Whom do you want to start with, Mr. Davis?
Since you're paying the rate, call me Mike. How about you, Miss Thompson? Do you mind being first?
Well, I'm awfully tired, but if I have to.
You don't have to, Paulo. None of us do.
What do you mean, dear?
I mean, Davis isn't a police officer. We don't have to tell him the time of day.
You're right, Jordan. You don't. Why would you refuse to cooperate? Unless you have something to hide?
Now look, Simon. Don't start accusing me of murder unless you can prove it.
Simon has a point. Do you want me to tell the cops that everyone cooperated except you?
All right, I'll answer your dumb question. But first, I'm going to take Mother upstairs and have her lie down. She's getting up in years and she needs a rest.
Why, thank you very much, son. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but I'm not a Methuselah either.
Don't get excited, Mother. Are you okay? Do you need your digitalis?
Oh, no, but if I did, there's probably one or two still under the sofa. I had a little accident with my pill bottle.
Come on. You can call when you're ready for us.
I assume you'll want to question everyone in private. You can wait with me in my room, Kathy. I want to go over the old will, since it will remain the official one.
Sure, Lois. Excuse us.
I'd like to stay. Since I wasn't here earlier, hearing everyone's statement might give me a clear picture of what happened tonight at Spencer Mansion.
You're the boss now. But I'm particularly interested in what happened in the time between Mr. Starkweather announced his new will and the time his body was discovered.
How long was that?
Several hours. Well, Miss Thompson, is there anything you observed in that time frame that could be of assistance?
Well, I was very disappointed by Great Uncle Simon's announcement, as you well might imagine. I mean, I can understand why you'd want to clone Tom Cruise or Chris Evans, but Great Uncle Simon? No offense, Mrs. Simon, but your grandfather was not a very nice person. Anyway, I spent most of the time in my room, except once when I came down for a little errand. I was outside the kitchen door when I heard Minerva and that cute little maid Nancy talking.
What's the matter with you? Have you left your mind in the other room or something? You haven't heard a word I said.
I'm sorry, Minerva. I'm just so confused.
About what? Has that no good scamp Jordan been bothering you?
Jordan? I mean, Mr. Starkweather? What makes you think that?
Well, when I walked in on the two of you, you were standing mighty close together, real lovey-dovey-like. What was he saying to you?
Well, I think he wanted me to
To do something you didn't want to do?
Yes, but it's not what you're thinking.
I'll bet. He better stay away from you or I'll cut him down the side.
Minerva, no, he's not interested in me. I heard him talking to Miss Collins. He was Well, he proposed to her, but she laughed at it.
Oh, I get the picture. When you lost your million, he lost interest in you, didn't he? He's following the money right back to that Collins girl.
Well, I mean, he did propose it to her, but she just turned him down.
Serves him right, that lazy bum.
Don't call him that.
I see, you're hung up on him, aren't you? Don't be a fool, Nancy. Jordan will just use you and toss you aside like he's done a dozen other girls I know of.
Maybe he's ready to settle down now. If Mr. Starkweather hadn't changed his will, Jordan would be free to...
Free to do what?
Nothing. If we're done, I'd like to go in my room now.
Go on. And Nancy,
Yes?
lock your door.
Excuse me. That little scene in the foyer was a flashback. It showed a conversation Paula overheard before the murder. Other character stories, well, portions of them, will be shown in flashback too. Isn't that clever? I just wanted to make sure you got it. That's all.
That man is really asking for it.
So tell me, Miss Trent, in the last couple hours, did you observe or see anything suspicious before Mr. Starkweather was murdered?
Suspicious. I suppose you'd call toting a gun around the house suspicious, even though Mr. Starkweather wasn't shot to death.
A gun? Who has a gun?
Besides that,
Paula Thompson, that's who. Claims she's a regular Annie Oakley. And she mentioned how easy it would be to come through those French doors and kill Mr. Starkweather.
did she now?
Ask her yourself.
Anything else?
I did happen to overhear a rather odd conversation between Rufus and Mrs. Starkweather. I had gone upstairs to distribute candles to everyone in case of a power outage, which turned out to be very useful, as you know. I was just about to turn the corridor onto the west wing when I saw Mrs. Starkweather at the far end near the stairs.
Do we have enough? Oh dear.
Oh, you stop with her.
Rufus, you scared me out of years. Gross.
Well, it's okay, man. But all right, we all are growing sideways now, don't we?
I certainly hope not. What are you doing with that television set? It doesn't look like a portable.
Well, it is now. I'm borrowing it from one of the guest rooms that ain't used right now.
What is it for?
Well, see, the set in my room is just all messed up. The color, I mean, just every damn blank channel's green. Looney Tunes is green. Friends is green. Even Golden Girls is green. I mean, looks like every station's starring Kermit the Frog.
How disconcerting.
You can say that again, whatever it means. Well, say, are there breath mints? I would not mind if you would. I can still taste crap whenever served us for dinner.
These? Oh no, Rufus, you mustn't have any of these. These are for my heart. If you ate any of these pills, they could kill you.
In that case, I'll pass. Now, you might want to be careful with those. You don't want to just strew them about a whole room and just, someone could just eat a bunch and just keel over dead.
That's entirely possible.
Well, what would you put on the death certificate? Cause of death. Bad breath. Because, like...
It isn't a lack of matter. I'll be careful with them. I need these pills, you see? I need every one of them.
In the house?
Precisely. I had ordered him to go chop some firewood earlier.
I'm surprised you trust him with an axe.
I don't trust him for butter knife. I was simply just relaying Mr. Starkweather's instructions.
Was there anything of interest you happened to notice earlier tonight?
Just one. I was entering from the kitchen when I saw Master Jordan standing in front of Mr. Starkweather's door. Not this one, but the hall door. His behavior was rather furtive. It seemed as though he was about to storm in the room when Nurse Withers came out, and her unexpected appearance seemed to be startled Master Jordan.
What do you want?
I was gonna check on Grandpa Simon.
No need. That's what I'm paid to do.
How is he?
Still breathing. That's what you're wondering about?
How much time do you think he has left?
Let's just say he didn't start reading any long novels or even a short story.
But do you think he'll make it through the night?
I think he'll keep his heart beating through sheer determination. Long enough to sign that will, that is. That is what you wanted to know, isn't it?
Why are you misjudging, Miss Withers?
Give it a rest, Jordan. You'd love to see him drop dead before daybreak, just like nearly everyone else in this house.
Including you. $1 million is a fortune. Anybody would kill for that much money.
If that's a hint, forget it. As Mr. Starkweather's nurse, I'd be prime suspect if his death appeared to be anything but natural.
Suspecting and proving are two different things.
I'm going to forget you said that. Good night, Jordan. It's true. Jordan did hint that I was in a position to end his great uncle's life in a way that would appear natural. I assume Bensonhurst also told you that I refused?
You did, but you could have changed your mind.
And then killed him with the blood pressure cuff? That would have been foolish. Hardly what you'd call by natural causes.
I agree. The manner by which Mr. Starkweather was murdered makes no sense at all. So, tell me. Who did murder him?
Off the record? That Thompson girl, his great niece, is too goody-goody for my taste. Oh, those southern girls can pour on the charm when they want to, but Scarlett O'Hara is pretty ruthless when you get down to it.
We've been told Cousin Paula has a gun.
See what I mean? I dare say she and Jordan were desperate to get their hands on Mr. Starkweather's money. I overheard them talking earlier this evening. It was shortly after Miss Van Zandt announced a new will. They didn't notice me in the corridor.
Well, what are we gonna do?
Do what can we do? It's out of our hands.
Don't be such a wit, Cousin Jordan. That money rightfully belongs to us. There's gotta be a way to get it.
I know. Maybe we can break the will and have Grandpa Simon declared insane.
I thought of that, but it won't work. If cloning was just a wild theory, we probably could, but it isn't. It's been done before. His plan to become the first person to ever be cloned might be bizarre, but it ain't insane. We'd lose the case.
And probably spend the pittance we're going to inherit on the lawyers.
Like that Miss Van Zandt. She...
What? What is it?
I'm thinking, if you can't beat him, join him.
Huh?
I just got a great way to get that Miss Van Zandt lady on our team.
How?
Fend for yourself, Jordan. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go talk to that lawyer.
If you can't beat him. Oh yeah. Now we would Kathy beat him.
It's true. Jordan did suggest we get married. It wasn't what you call a romantic proposal. It was more like a business proposition.
We've got to have access to billions. What did Jordan have to offer you?
Himself, I guess. In my opinion, that fortune hunter wouldn't be worth 2 cents.
You did turn him down?
Jordan is attractive in a smarmy sort of way, but any woman who married him would be a fool. Believe me, Mike, I'm no fool.
I knew that from the time we started working together.
You were smart enough to volunteer to carry grandfather's home.
Look, Simon, once Mr. Starkweather made the plan for himself, there was nothing anyone could change it. He would have had a surrogate mother somewhere, so it might as well have been me.
I understand, I just think the whole idea was creepy.
You're a lot nicer about it than the other heirs were.
For example,
Paula, for one, she had to give up hopes of getting her hands on Mr. Starkweather's money.
how do you know?
I was in Lois's room with her when Paul knocked on the door. She asked Lois to step into the corridor so she could speak to her in private. Lois went out with her. She didn't close the door completely, so I couldn't help but overhear their conversation.
We're very busy, Miss Thompson.
Preparing that new will.
Yes.
Miss Van Zandt, you're a lawyer. Are you sure this cloning business is legal? Haven't lawyers been disbarred before for behavior that was illegal?
The process will be performed in Belgium, as we told you. Our laws don't apply there.
Okay, but haven't lawyers been disbarred before for behavior that was unethical, if not illegal?
What's your point?
I want in on the deal. You can pay me from the baby's trust fund to be a nanny or whatever. I don't care what you name the position. But if you refuse, I'll be forced to report you to the Bar Association. Ain't that what you call it?
It is. Let me let you in on a little free legal advice, Miss Thompson. In the first place, if you make any accusations against me before the legal procedure is completed, I will sue you for the $15,000 you're due to receive, and I'll get it. In the second place, once the baby is on the way, I shall devote all my time to little Simon and Kathy's care. It won't bother me in the least if I should be disbarred or not. You don't have to be a lawyer to administer an estate. Anyone can do it. So you see, young woman, your threats are meaningless. In fact, as an officer of the court, I should report your feeble attempt at extortion to the police.
I'll
Save it. Take your silly southern self out of my sight, and I might be willing to forget it.
All right, fine. I'll go. You lawyer.
Excuse me.
Oh, yes, Miss Trent.
I found what's left of the Christmas candles I stowed away. I thought it might be a good idea to pass them out in case of a power failure.
That's very thoughtful of you. Kathy's up in my room. I'll take one for her as well.
Miss Thompson?
Oh, all right, fine. I'm going out to my room to get some.
What's the matter with her? Let's just say Miss Thompson is a poor loser. She played her ace and I trumped it. In a manner of speaking, I'll take this to Kathy.
If I remember correctly, when Miss Kathy Collins saw the body and screamed, you ran in the front door. What have you been doing outside, Rufus?
Was how sad? Oh yeah, I guess I was. See, I'm trying to get this new set for TV in my new room, because mine was just all messed up color.
You heard why, Rufus.
You did? You sure does trail fast around here.
All the actors on your set were green.
Well, they sure were. Looked like the Martians had landed or something. Anyways, I was about to get told out of our storage shed and turn the new set around on the roof.
On the roof?
Well, it won't do that much if it was in the basement now, would it? Anyways, when I hooked up the new set in my room, the picture didn't really come in too good. Everything was just fuzzy as a woolly worm.
Did you see or hear anything outside?
Oh, yes, I did. Okay, so I saw this owl. I heard a bunch of bullfrogs,
I
too.
meant humans.
Oh. Well, I did see Jordan out on the patio when I was coming in, though. I don't know what he was doing out there.
Earlier tonight, Rufus, did you see anybody talking about the new will?
Well, who was it? Whenever no business hers, we're just going on and on about it in the living room before Mr. Starkweather croaked.
What were they saying?
Well, that it ain't fair, that's what. But they worked hard for Mr. Starkweather all these years. Me, I didn't really care too much. I figured 50,000 was enough to get me one nice big old TV with a big screen.
Bensonhurst and Minerva?
Oh, yeah. You know, the more I thought about it, the madder and madder she got. And, whew, that woman's got one heck of a temper. She was about ready to storm into Miss Stockwell's room and she gave her a piece of her mind.
Let's go in there, Minerva.
Oh yeah? Who's gonna stop me?
I shall, if necessary.
You and whose army?
Look, I get that we're completely wrong, but a confrontation is not the answer.
Oh yeah? Then what is?
Have patience. He hasn't signed a new will yet. Perhaps he'll change his mind by morning.
We should be so lucky.
No, Minerva. If he should be so lucky.
From what I've heard, you were outside around the time of the murder. What had you been doing outside, Mr. Starkweather?
Just getting a breath of fresh air. Anything wrong with that?
Not if you remained outside.
What do you mean?
When I made a cursory examination of the crime scene, I happened to notice that Miss Withers had left the window open a couple of inches to let in some of that fresh air. Anyone could have just climbed in.
Are you accusing me of killing Great Uncle Simon?
Calm down, Mr. Starkweather. I'm not accusing anybody. Yet.
And besides, Junior, it seems like it's more versatile than calling someone else into doing the bidding.
Who told you that?
I'll ask the questions, if you don't mind. I repeat, what were you doing outside?
If you must know, Kathy and I had a disagreement and I blew up. I went out to cool off. Or have you already heard about that too?
I question. You answer. Remember? Let me ask you this. If you didn't murder Mr. Starkweather, who do you think did?
Look, I'm not saying she did it, but have you talked to that little maid of, what's her name? Nancy?
Why her? You wouldn't.
The girl had a crush on me. I flirt with the ladies a lot, but I did absolutely nothing to lead her on. I know she was upset about the mural. Not that she would lose her mind, but I would lose even more. I strolled around the house when I saw Nancy speaking to Miss Withers.
Can I do something for you, Miss Withers?
I needed fresh water to put by Mr. Starkweather's bedside. I got it.
That poor man, when he had the attack and lost his breath in the living room, I realized what you meant when you said the slightest shock could prove to be fatal.
Exactly.
The slightest shock.
That's all it could take.
It's so terrible.
I know.
Oh, it's Belle.
I must go.
Yes, we wouldn't want anything to happen to him. Really. I was shocked to hear Mr. Starkweather had included me in his will. I didn't even think he noticed me.
We must receive 2 surprises tonight. Here you'd inherit $1 million and immediately discover it's being taken away.
3 surprises, actually. Now you're wealthy again.
Well, I was thrilled to be told your grandfather was leaving me even $50,000. With that, I could go to college and get a good education, like you.
Now you can do anything you want to do. What is that?
Well, I haven't been thinking about myself lately.
Who has been on your mind, Nancy?
Well,
Jordan Starkweather, perhaps? You're very fond of him, aren't you?
who told you that?
Cousin Jordan himself, for one. He even implied you might have been willing to kill for him.
He what? Oh, it's terrible to say such a thing.
I'm sorry to hurt you, Nancy, but now you see who Jordan really is. He's out for himself, and he'll trample anyone who gets in his way.
I guess I knew that. Minerva tried to warn me. I even heard her propose to Miss Collins. She turned him down, and then later laughed about it when she told her friend, Miss Van Zandt. I was taking fresh towels to the guest room when I heard the two of them talking. You think Jordan is bad? Well, Miss Collins is just as bad as he is.
Can you believe it? Those soulful gazing my work on some innocent young thing like my maid Nancy. They're quick enough that I'm no pushover.
I wish I'd been there to see it. It's about time Jordan's met his match. I could tell Nancy about some of the other maids that have worked here before her. His Playboy days will be over soon enough, though.
What do you mean?
Well, up until now, Mr. Starkweather has given Jordan, his grandson, Miss Paula, and Fiona a very generous allowance. Once that's all gone, they'll have to learn what it's like to work for a lady.
Simon's almost out of school. He'll do fine. But the others, they'll go through the money in no time. What kind of jobs they get. Can you picture Paula behind the desk of a car rental agency?
Or Jordan driving the cars out of the lot for customers?
And what will Fiona do? Sell Avon?
You don't think she forgot, do you?
You're here, finally. Can I get you anything?
Oh, no, dear, I'm fine. Mr. Davis, I want you to know that my Jordan couldn't have done, oh dear, what was done to Uncle Simon. He was with me in my room all evening.
You know that can't be true, Mrs. Starkweather. He told us himself he was outside. And I saw you in here earlier with Bensonhurst and Miss Withers.
Oh, that's right. Maybe that was last night you sat with me.
Maybe it was.
Now I know why Jessica Fletcher never believed the suspects on Murder, She Wrote. It's so easy to get confused.
Concentrate tonight, Mrs. Starkweather. Was there anything suspicious you saw earlier tonight?
Suspicious? Well, I saw Uncle Simon's body with that horrible thing around his neck. I'd call that suspicious.
My please, before that, Mrs. Fiona.
Oh, before? Let me think. I don't know if this is the sort of thing you mean, but...
What?
Well, it was after we were told about the new will and had all gone upstairs. I was going past that secretary's door when I heard the housekeeper and her inside. They were speaking quite loudly, so I couldn't help but overhear.
What are you doing in my room, Mrs. Trent?
I was checking all the guest rooms to make sure there were extra blankets in each. I suppose you're quite pleased with yourself, Miss Collins.
Why do you say that?
It all worked out just like you planned.
I don't know what you mean.
I think you do. I understand now why you call those news magazines from town and let them lie where Mr. Starkweather would see them. You've done it for months.
What magazine?
The way nothing dumb in this Collins. Those news magazines and scientific journals, I've seen them. They all have one thing in common. Articles about cloning. I didn't realize what you were doing until tonight, but now it's obvious. You planted the idea Mr. Starkweather's had to clone himself.
So what if I did? There are no laws against sharing ideas, are there?
I'm sure your lawyer friend would say no, since you're in this together. That doesn't mean that it's right. I think what you're planning to do is hideous.
To be perfectly frank, I can't care less what you think. Get out.
Starting to give orders already, are you? I'll leave. Remember one thing, young woman. You're not the queen bee yet, and you won't be until Mr. Starkweather's name is on the dotted line, assuming that ever happens.
Kathy told me about Mrs. Trent's accusations, how she engineered in the cloning business, possibly with my help. Apparently, Mrs. Starkweather reported their conversation quite accurately, which is something of a surprise.
Is it true? Did you and Kathy give grandfather the idea of cloning himself?
I don't think that's relevant to the case at hand, Simon. Even if it was, we didn't do anything wrong. Don't you think, Mr. Davis?
Not that I can think of.
Then shouldn't we focus on the law that was broken? I'm referring to the murder, of course.
You're right as usual, Miss Van Zandt. Can you volunteer any information that might help us?
Well, I can tell you this. Earlier this evening, I was going down to the kitchen to fetch a pot of coffee from Minerva. It was apparent Kathy and I were going to be up working late, and I figured the caffeine might help us stay awake. Minerva wasn't there, but Rufus was. I heard him sparking up a conversation with Mrs. Starkweather. It was quite peculiar.
Rufus, what are you doing with that axe?
Well, I brought it from the wood pile to dry off. Sharpened it up too. Wanna see?
Goodness, no, put it away.
Maybe I better. Or hurt someone. Or even kills them.
That's a horrible thought.
Even though I get those sometimes. Do you? Oh, I still see you got poison pills there.
Did you tell us it isn't a poison? It's a stimulant. You just have to be careful not to get too many.
Well, got a lot more in that ball when I saw you upstairs. Oops, I hope you hadn't got an overdose. I think I can figure out that. Not the mouse though.
If you bring those ones any closer to me, I'll snap the axe out of your hand and chop them off.
Just trying to help, Miss Starkweather.
Oh, don't. There are some things worse than death. I assure you, however, that I am fine. I spilled the pills earlier in the living room. I wasn't able to find them all.
Well, hope Minerva don't find none. She fixes Miss Starkweather's meals and she's mad at him right now.
What are you suggesting?
Oh, nothing. Was there something in the kitchen?
Oh, I came to see if Minerva had any of those delicious hors d'oeuvres left over.
Oh, I can look.
Never mind. I seem to have lost my appetite.
Mr. Starkweather's meals? What do you want to know about them?
Who did he dine with? Does he eat different meals from everyone else?
Mr. Starkweather was on a very restricted diet, low salt, low fat, so I had to prepare his meals separately. Why do you want to know about the food? Do you think there's something wrong with my cooking?
You're a great cook, Minerva. The leg of lamb you served tonight was delicious.
Well, I've often been told I had terrific legs. What's the problem?
Forget it. You told me what I need to know. Changing the subject. Earlier tonight, when the circuit breaker went out, there were those of you gathered in the kitchen. Before I got there, who was there?
The blackout? Well, I was in the pantry gathering supplies for breakfast when all of a sudden it went dark. It took me a second to get the candle Miss Trent gave me out of my pocket and light it.
Patty, Minerva, everyone all right? I'm here, and I'm fine.
I was in my room when everything went dark. What happened?
Mistress got to laugh. You're so funny. I'll forget to pay your wages.
What in the blazes is going on in here?
Apparently, the storm rushed out the electricity. My candles did come in handy, you see.
Remind me to give you a gold star later. Bensonhurst, can you get the light bill back on?
That's what I came to find out. Mr. Bensonhurst?
Well, it's not a bill, it's a circuit. Yes, I can.
I hope they hurry. I don't like the dark. Yeah, spiders.
Oh, well, that quick enough for you? I'm gonna finish my show.
What did he come in here? Oh my gosh. That idiot tracked water all over my clean floors.
Why Mr. Starkweather doesn't fire him, I'll never know.
Any luck?
Yeah, it was there all right. I wish I had more. It could take weeks for the evidence to get here. If the will's probated and the killer gets his or her inheritance, they can disappear for good. You could buy a new identity easy enough for $1 million or more.
I wish we found out more from hearing everyone's testimonies.
Me too. They were so busy trying to make each other look guilty, they didn't reveal much about themselves. Sometimes the slightest... Simon, move your feet.
What is it?
Here, on the rug. That's... Yes! What they were doing was so insignificant, I hadn't noticed it before. Simon! I know who murdered your grandfather.
Who?
I'll tell everyone as soon as I gather the evidence. Quickly! Have Bensonhurst get everyone in here immediately.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I never sent me here to see if you like a hot coffee.
Oh, never mind that. Go upstairs and tell everyone to get down here on the double.
Yes, sir.
I don't think the police chief will mind if I gather evidence in a plastic bag. I don't think he'll mind at all. Everyone, please have a seat.
Mr. Davis, it's very late or very early, depending on how you look at it. But if nobody else is going to ask, I will. Why did you call us here at this hour?
It is very late, isn't it? Well, I expect you all to be tired. I know I am. But I thought you'd all sleep better knowing who murdered Simon Starkweather.
You mean you discovered him to great Uncle Simon?
I believe I has, as I will show you in the next few minutes.
I'm amazed, Mike. How did you figure it out?
Well, first, I had to answer the question that has been bothering me since the beginning. It would have been easy enough to make it appear as Mr. Starkweather died of natural causes, a suggestion Jordan made to Miss Withers earlier tonight. For example, Mrs. Starkweather or her son could have given him some of her digitalis to trigger a heart attack. So could many others among you who knew she had them and had left a few on the floor, no doubt, when she spilled them earlier tonight. Miss Withers could have also achieved a similar result by using a hypodermic needle to put an air bubble into his bloodstream. Then again, any of you could have went into a room and stolen one to do the same thing yourself. Additionally, some of you might have thought about frightening the old man to death. Miss Withers with her knife, or Minerva with her knife, Miss Thompson with her gun, Bensonhurst with his wrench, or Rufus with his axe. The possibilities are endless. So why then did the killer decide to put a cuff around the old man's neck, inflate it, and strangle him to death? The answer is so simple, I feel foolish for not realizing it sooner.
And that is...
Obviously, when the cuff was put around his neck, he was already dead.
What?
Am I right, Miss Van Zandt?
Oh my
It's always lawyers.
You're very clever, Mr. Davis.
It had to have been you. We were in here earlier when the lights went out. I went to find Bensonhurst to have him show me where the main breaker was. You went to check on Mr. Starkweather. The killer must have done the old man in and then slipped into Miss Withers' room seconds before you found the body.
That's what I figured too. Well, why would you put the cuff around his neck then? Well, as our able detective here has surmised, the killer had made it seem as though Mr. Starkweather had indeed died of natural causes, a heart attack. However, I knew that one of you in here had to have done it. I saw the blood pressure cuff sitting on the bed, and I pumped it up to the maximum and wrapped it around his neck before wheeling him into this very room.
And your plan worked. No one would question the fact that he had been murdered.
So, Master Simon hired Mr. Davis to find the murderer for Mr. Starkweather's murderer.
Which I have. It was very naughty of you, Miss Van Zandt. Your little ploy distracted me for a while. Instead of trying to figure out who did it, I was too busy trying to figure out why they did it that way.
I'm sorry, Mr. Davis, but if you have discovered the identity of the murderer, then the end seems to have justified the means.
I'm sure the police will agree with you. They may even overlook the fact that you're guilty with tampering with evidence on a crime scene.
And if not, I'm on very good terms with the local judges.
Wait. How do you know Miss Van Zandt didn't kill Great Uncle Simon herself?
No motive.
Oh.
Don't keep us in suspense, Mike. Tell us who did kill Mr. Starkweather.
I'll do better than that. I'll show you. Bear with me.
Why can't I see?
Everyone, please stay seated. I assume you all have the candles Miss Trent handed out earlier tonight in case of a blackout. Take them out, please, and light them.
Reminds me of Christmas.
Isn't this nice? Very Christmassy.
When I examined Mr. Starkweather's body, I found out what I at first thought were a few drops of blood on his bathrobe. Upon closer inspection, I figured out that they were a different substance entirely. I forgot about it for the moment, and then I interviewed you all separately. One of you was scraping one thumbnail against the other. At the time, I took it as a nervous gesture, but it was a nervous gesture triggered by guilt, as it turned out. So, I forgot about the significance of that gesture until I recalled Minerva's testimony. She reminded me of those of you who gathered in the kitchen with the candles. That's when I found these thin scrapings of red tallow. Tallow from the killer's thumbnail. Tallow that matched the substance on Mr. Starkweather's body. Tallow from the red candle the murderer was holding when she killed Simon Starkweather. Tallow from the one red candle among you, which you are holding, Miss Withers.
There might have been other red candles.
There aren't. I remember thinking when we took them down after Christmas that we had to buy some more red ones for next year.
Is that
Miss Withers. I have better evidence than that. As I was moving about the room a few minutes ago, I glanced at everyone's wrists. I happened to notice that there are several very thin scratches on your hands, which were made by Mr. Starkweather, no doubt, as he struggled for his life. I'll bet my reputation that these skin samples I was able to take from under his fingernails belong to you. It'll be easy enough to prove. I've met quite a few experts on DNA testing over the last 6 months. Well?
I don't suppose you'd consider cloning those scrapings and putting the Numier in prison, would you? I didn't think so. Well, Miss Van Sant, I guess my biggest mistake was trying to cross your lawyer. I might have caused you to lose access to Mr. Starkweather's billions, but you definitely got your revenge.
Why don't you tell us what happened?
Might as well. You figured out the main details anyway. I was furious with Mr. Starkweather for building up our hopes and then dashing them to the ground. I thought a man that cool doesn't deserve to live. When I took him his pitcher of water, he was still ringing that bell. I put the pitcher of water down, gripped the arms of his wheelchair, and leaned right down to his face. I told him I thought what he was planning to do was monstrous. I told him that a man that cruel doesn't deserve to live. I told him I was going to kill him. Then, at his Frisco, he was terrified. He wheeled backward in his chair and slammed into his bedside table. The impact sent the reading lamp crashing down and the pitcher of water right on top of it. When the water hit the lamp, it short-circuited and blew the circuit breaker.
So you didn't cause the blackout deliberately?
No, it nearly ruined everything, but I had the candle and matches on me. I managed to light the candle with one hand, while I grabbed the oxygen mask off his chair with the other. I clamped the mask down hard over his nose and mouth. He couldn't breathe, of course. He made a feeble attempt to fight back with one hand, while he rang that bell with the other. Although all he could manage to do was make a few insignificant scratches on my wrist, as you noticed, and caused me to spill the drops of candle wax on his robe. I don't know if he died of suffocation or a heart attack, but it was all over in seconds. The old man wasn't able to do much, but it was enough to pin his murder on me.
And then?
I put the mask back on his wheelchair and slipped through the connecting door to my room. I took a brass candlestick from my bureau and smacked myself in the head with it. Even the slightest cut will cause the scalp to bleed profusely, and I had to have an explanation as to why I had rushed him when he rang his bell. I listened at the door, and when Miss Van Sant wheeled him into this room, I staggered behind her.
You must have been as surprised as everyone else when you saw the blood pressure cuff around Mr. Starkweather's neck.
I was, but what could I do? It was easy enough to guess what she had told. I would have loved to kill you too, for ruining everything. But I didn't dare try, of course, until now.
Stop yelling.
At this point, I don't have anything to lose, do I? Don't anybody move!
Easy. Don't do anything you might regret.
It's too late for that advice, Mr. Davis. Get over with me. Where will we go? The bridge is out. I know where the fallen tree is that Simon mentioned. Simon, throw your car keys onto the table.
You'll never get away.
I think I might. The boats are still down, and all of you are on this side, and all of your cars are parked on this side of the stream. It would take you hours to walk to the nearest town and notify the police. I'll be long gone by then.
Well, what about me?
I would have committed the perfect murder if it hadn't been for you. What do you think I'm gonna do?
Nothing if I can help it.
Ah! Are you alright?
I'm fine.
You burned me! Consider it a preview of your afterlife.
I always keep these on me. You never know when handcuffs will come in handy. Let me see them.
Right. Might need to pay you a big bonus.
No problem. Well, you're going to be spending a lot of time behind bars. What do you have to say for yourself?
I feel faint. Has anyone seen my smelling salts?
What's the matter?
This telegram just came through. They said that it's urgent.
Sorry about this, but I better see what this is all about. St. John. He says he just came to from a drug-induced coma. And when he awoke, a fantastic solution to the play was crystal clear. Oh my, really? Yes, that's brilliant. This new ending is unbelievable. Better than any of the possible conclusions he came up with before. You simply have to see it. It'll take me a few minutes for me to go over the changes with the cast, but I'm sure they can handle it. Oh, see, some clues need to go in the first act. We're gonna have to do the whole play again. Never thought of that.